All right, it's the postcast. Sens lose 6-3. I'm Ross Levitan with Jack Richardson for some SensCentral Standouts. Now, Jack, all in all, there's a lot we can pick apart. But did you like the effort that you saw for the first game in 11 days for the Sens?
I did. I didn't have an issue with the effort from anyone, I don't think. Just maybe sharpness, like some of the shots weren't going their way, and they did battle. Like the fact that it was tied 3-3 at the after two, I was, it sounds really kind of sad, but I was impressed. I was impressed that they were right there. So no, effort wasn't a problem for me. However, picking one guy is a little bit tough, just because there were a couple of good performances, I think, and I'm not going to go with the obvious one. We talked about Sanderson already. I'm going to go with the guy who snapped the longest goal-scoring drought in Ottawa Senators history, Erik Brannstrom. We're talking 121 games, nearly 2 full years. It was February 20-something of 2021 that Erik Brannstrom scored last, and it was a nice shot.
It was from center ice, his last
It
goal.
was the one from center ice against David Riddick, I think, and against Calgary. So good for Brannstrom. I mean, he's having a really good year in terms of the underlying numbers. He looks good on that blue line. He's in a sheltered third pairing role. He's been good, PK, what you name it. He had a great game too, and it wasn't just that. He was moving the puck well. He stepped up when Sanderson went down. Played a lot more minutes. So big for Brannstrom. If he can bring a little bit more of that offensive game at even strength, it'll be a huge boost for the Sens team. So I'm going Brannstrom, snapping the goalless drought. That's a long streak, and even though they lost, like the weight is off that guy's shoulders now. Like that's a huge goal.
And he almost got a second. He had a nice little pinch in the third period. Could you imagine if he goes no goals in 121 and then scores 2 goals in a period?
Would have felt like Alex Burrows' debut for some reason. I don't know why I get those vibes. Just like when it's weird when a guy scores and they do it twice in back-to-back periods.
I wonder what he thinks of the trade now. Hey,
oh, God.
And it works with Brannstrom because people obviously give.
Yeah. Proudest day as GM. Scored the first goal in 121 games. I do like Brannstrom. I'm still on the Brannstrom team, but it is just. Yeah. I'm the Brandwagon. I call him the Branchise when they traded for him. I was a big the Branchise guy. So great to see him score. And I mean, if Sanderson's out for a few games, we'll see if he can elevate his game a little bit more.
Totally. And I think he deserves that opportunity. 15 minutes for Erik Brannstrom in this game. And at 5-on-5, right in the middle of the pack in terms of Corsi percentage. He's on there for the same amount of goals for and against. And yeah, just a clean game for Erik Brannstrom, but certainly snapping an 120-game drought. You got to give some stick taps to Erik Brannstrom. I'm going to go a different direction with my SensCentral standout today. I'm going to go with the heart and soul of the team. And shockingly, Brady Tkachuk only played 14 minutes and 36 seconds, but he made a mark in those 3 shots, 5 hits. He had that spirited fight with Evander Kane that you look at it, and I know there's maybe not much correlation between a fight and giving your team momentum. But I thought, again, you and I both watched the Oilers broadcast, and I thought at intermission they were terrific. Luke Gazdic, former tough guy in the NHL, he mentioned, like, hey, when it's a fight, like an Austin Watson, for example, who's up there and fighting majors in the league, it's almost just expected. He's going to fight. They're going to do their thing and on and on. But like Gazdic, he said, even when I was in the NHL, I could feel that. Like the guys that wasn't as fired up. But when 2 guys who are skill players as well get into it, especially in front of the bench, that's going to jack up the team. And we saw that in New York when he did that against Jacob Trouba. And you look at it, they're down at the point, and they end up coming back and tying the game right after that fight. So I thought Brady brought some determination to this game. I had never heard of this Desharnais guy before. He's a monster, 6'7". He was controlling play.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that one of the late goals in the game, he wins his board battle against Shane Pinto, just bullies him around in the D zone. They break out, go the other way. But Brady stood up to him a couple times, and that's just kind of a fearless attitude I'll give some respect to. And a great way to set up the Sanderson goal, too. Great zone entry. That's a trick that he's added to his bag this season, where he's able to make plays off the rush with speed that might not have been there in his younger years. So I thought Brady had a pretty solid game today. And for that, he's my first SensCentral standout.
Yeah, he was kind of my guy who, when you're trying to find guys who probably have the vacation legs coming off of a long trip, Kachuk is the kind of player where sometimes it takes him a couple games to get his legs back under him, right? And I'm thinking when he held out for the contract, it took a couple weeks, but I'd say he was on the, like you mentioned, he looked like a guy who had just played last night, like it wasn't he wasn't lagging behind anything at all. I thought Joseph had really good legs. Like that whole top line I thought was really good. A couple other guys on forward I thought were a little slow, but yeah, you're right. I think as a fan, we're more in tune with the way certain plays make the team feel. You know what I mean? Like you mentioned what Gazdic was saying about, if Watson's going out and fighting, we're like, like that's not firing me up that much. But when Kachuk does it every time, it's a big deal and it matters. And I think I generally do think the team responds to it every time Kachuk drops the gloves.
Just like they did tonight, bringing it back even, but ultimately the Senators fall 6-3 at home to the Edmonton Oilers. Hey, 8th sellout of the season. And Bruce Garriock tweeted out that photo. Did you see it pregame? It was like 8 layers deep at the boards in the Edmonton Oilers for warm up. He's a ticket seller, right? He's one of those rare guys in the NHL where you're paying specifically. You get the schedule at the start of the year. When's McDavid in town? Zoink, better get those tickets ASAP. So I saw the one sign too the kid had, right? 2019 Christmas gift. 2020, no games. 2021 fans, 22 no fans, or 500 fans last year. Remember Drake Batherson was sitting behind the goal when the OT game winner. That's
strange
awesome.
time. Oh, just straight. Yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's McDavid and Draisaitl, like this high-powered offense, the best players in the league. Their first time in Ottawa in 4 years. That's crazy, right? When you think about it. So obviously it's going to be a big pull. I love it when there's a lot of energy like that in the crowd. It's a fun game. I've been to a Sens Oilers game. I think it might have been that one in 2019 actually, or maybe the year before, but it's a fun atmosphere when that guy comes to town. And, a lot of Oilers fans, just generational thing like it is. And there's also a mix of probably people just jumping on the bandwagon a little bit, but man, you want to talk about the Oilers? That is a cup contending team, and they had a slow start to the year, but I'm looking at all 4 of the final 4 last year: Rangers, Lightning, Avs, and the Oilers. I think all 4 were kind of slow to start the year a little bit, and they've really picked it up, especially the Rangers too. Like that Edmonton team is no joke. They are legit, and I think we need to. The Sens having 12 days off, like this was a good game, all things considered, for Ottawa, especially when you consider this is a cup contending team that is absolutely rolling right now. So I'm happy with I'm happy with what I saw for sure from the Sens.
And I don't know how much I trust statmuse.com. Do you trust them?
I don't know. Some things are a little off about it. Depends what you're looking for, though.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at the most all-time points scored against the Ottawa Senators because Connor McDavid's already 30th and he's 25 years old and plays in a different conference.
Yeah, that's I mean he's got what they said 35 points in 22 games or something like that, 21 games.
I've got the exact number right in front of me. In 21 games, he has 37 points.
Yeah, that's stupid. That is really stupid. You know, okay, you know what's funny? So the Oilers broadcast referred a lot to that nine game winning streak they had against Ottawa in the COVID bubble. But what's funny about that year is that McDavid and Draisaitl I think got 22 points in the 9 games or something. Each. At the time, I remember because that was McDavid MVP year and Matthews was having a great year too. I'll never forget Leafs fans taking McDavid's season down, being like, oh, he only gets points against the Sens, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember looking it up. Matthews had like 19 points in 9 games against Ottawa that year. It was the same thing. Everyone beat up on the Sens. And if you want to feel even more pain, if the Sens won 4 or 3 of those games against the Oilers, they were in the playoffs that year. If they just find a way to get a few more points out of those games, they pass Montreal. Just pain, but you know what? That's a wagon right there. I think the Oilers are going to win, going to make another run this year for sure.
Yeah, they're a real good team. Do you have any other SensCentral citizens or standouts you want to give presented by the GLEBE Central Pub or just one in tonight's effort?
I mentioned Joseph. I thought he had his legs. I like him on that top line. He's got 4 points in 3 games now. I'm really liking what he's doing for Kachuk and Stützle at 5-on-5. Now, they did throw the lines in an absolute blender for the second half of the game. So, we saw Kachuk with DeBrincat and Giroux, and then we saw Pinto, Batherson, Giroux. I don't know what was going on, but I think Kachuk's fight kind of messed up the flow of the lines a little bit just because he was out for 5 minutes. But I'll go Joseph. I liked his legs even right to the end. He had some nice rushes, and I pointed out Nick Paul. His last 10 games at some point in the week, he's got 2 points in 10 games or something like that. I think we're past it's a terrible trade. It was a good swap in my opinion because I like Joseph and he had a good game today, I thought.
Yeah, the advanced analytics would agree with you as well. 5-on-5, the Sens had 15 shot attempts for and only 7 against. So percentage-wise, best on the Ottawa Senators. I'm between two guys for my second SensCentral standout. You know what? We both kind of said our piece about Jake Sanderson already. The calm, cool demeanor he gives. He was third star in the building, but I just want to take this moment to appreciate Claude Giroux being an Ottawa Senator. Most shot attempts for of any Ottawa Senator when he was on the ice at 5-on-5. He's just a warrior out there, again, in the faceoff circle, dominant, third in the National Hockey League, 55% in this game. He kills penalties. He plays on the power play, 3 shots, scores a goal, 5th straight game with a tuck, and the road to 1,000 points continues for Claude Giroux. So just wild that he's an Ottawa Senator, and thank God he didn't just sign a 1-year deal. Seems like he's really in it for the long haul, and we can make sure he's got better success going forward. But love what he brings to this team.
It's awesome. And I think a perfect example is, Oilers go up 3-1 on that just ridiculous play from McDavid, and the building's buzzing from it. And before the camera can even cut back, Giroux ties it, right? I think it's kind of indicative of his presence just kind of, I don't know how the next 2 years of his deal are going to pan out. I don't know what the Sens core is going to do in the next 2 years, but having him there just kind of elevates their culture, I think, and to me, that's what's most important. It's the intangibles he's bringing off the ice too. But yeah, like a 5-game goal streak, he's just rock star. I don't know how to. Yeah, I obviously saw that goal in Toronto, like that really nice one, and it was just right in front of me. It's like, this guy is just, he's special. He's special. And five. I think he was 12 games without a goal before that, before the streak. So he was a little cold in the goal department, but he's now, I think, tied for the team leader, one behind Stützle. So yeah, he's everything is advertised, a bargain.